Hi guys, welcome to the video. So today I want to talk about 5 everyday habits that you have right now that are stopping you being relaxed. It's all very well me spouting the benefits of being relaxed and do this, do that, but we need to know where the enemy is coming from so we know where to guard ourselves and be aware. So I'm going to give you actually 5 everyday habits that are infecting your life at the moment that's stopping you from being relaxed and actually prolonging this anxiety. If you've got prolonged anxiety throughout your life, everyday life, then it's going to prevent you inside your sport in terms of sprinting fast. So what we do outside of a sport is just as important as what we do inside a sport. And we won't be able to run freely or sprint freely and really run to our potential if we've got anxiety and tension and we don't know where we don't know how to be relaxed. So these are the things that you need to guard yourself against. Number one, the job you're in or the course you're doing or what you're doing every day throughout the day that is causing you tension and anxiety. Are you doing things that are bringing fulfillment, health, excitement, or are you doing things that are mundane that you're not enjoying? I remember doing a job 15 years ago in terms of the bank, and it just didn't benefit me. I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't for me. I couldn't connect to the work that I was doing. I didn't see it as any importance, and because of that I wasn't very good at the job, and because I didn't enjoy the job, it affected my mental health, my happiness and my fulfillment. I knew I had to get out of there at some point, which I luckily did. So what are you doing? Are you doing a course? If you're young, are you doing a course that is still mundane and you're not enjoying? It might be a good idea to look at that, and I'll tell you at the end of this video how to correct that, so don't worry about it. But if you notice what you're doing throughout the day, and what you have to do is just put in patient steps, small steps to saying, okay, how can I correct this and do things that are actually going to bring excitement to my life and bring passion and bring those positive feelings. So that's number one. Number two is where you are right now. As athletes, we are constantly focused on the future, constantly focused on that time that we need to want to get, or to get that time or get that position or medal that we were aiming for. And because we're so focused on the future, we think that's going to bring us endless health, happiness and fulfillment when we achieve that, when actually we're not. What we want to do is actually look at where we are right now. What's causing this anxiety? Because what happens, why we chase that, is because we're actually not happy with where we are right now, our situation. And it's linked in with number one actually as well, but where we are situation wise, our feeling wise. Why are we feeling with stress and tension right now? This might be a good idea to get a pen and paper and write down what's making me unhappy right now, what's in my life at the moment that is creating this tension and anxiety, and look at where we are right now. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Because you really do need to be. Relaxation can only come about in how you feel right now in this present moment. So you really need to look at yourself and your situation right now and look at the influence you have on how you feel right now. So do that, right? Get a pen and paper, write down those things that will give it the reason why you're full of stress and excitement and maybe unhappiness. Number three is the mainstream media and social media in general. And this is a big one really, because it infects really most people's lives at the moment. And what you have is a mainstream media that's polarized in itself, but creates polarized views. You've got to understand that generally the mainstream media has to keep you hooked. It's got to keep you kind of clicking on a button, clickbait, clicking on that thing on the internet so you watch. It's there to get a response out of you, because it needs to do that, so it keeps you watching. You have to look at the ways that it polarizes us and creates news. Not doesn't create news, but kind of promotes news that's extreme, that's going to get a response out of you, and mostly negative. The way they do that is actually getting, for news to be newsworthy, it's got to be extreme, and it's got to be out of the ordinary. Otherwise, people wouldn't actually click through it. So they will promote things that are out of the ordinary, and then they'll start to think that this is what happens all around the place in everyday life, when that might not be the case, and it might be not the case in your life at the moment. So they promote those things to actually get a response out of you, so it takes over your mind. And once you actually see these things take over your mind, you're going to be triggered and going to be angry, but also, and if you're triggered and angry, then you're not going to be relaxed. And that's one of the things that you have to look at the mainstream media and its influence on you. It's kind of not for your benefit. They have to make money at the end of the day, and they have to keep you hooked and to promote these things so they can take up your mind. So you need to clear your mind and clear the influence of this mainstream media. The other thing is social media platforms, and they work in kind of the same ways because they need to get you hooked. So they'll promote everybody's opinion. If you promote everybody's opinion, what's going to happen? You're going to get opposing opinions, and you're going to get people getting triggered, and they love that. They need to create that. And so, for instance, I'm in the process of getting into social media and loosening the social media in my life. Twitter, I've already banned from my life completely. I think it's a toilet wall of a place that's the worst of social media. There's no one on Twitter that is a better person than they are in real life. No one. And it turns decent people into vindictive, resentful people. So Twitter's the worst on it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen across the way on other social media platforms, but Twitter is the worst. So maybe look at your social media platforms, look at the mainstream media, how much influence does it have on your life? And if you don't agree with me, then that's fine. But as you watch the news on the BBC or Sky News, how do you feel when you watch it? Are you feeling good? Is it bringing excitement and positive feelings? Or is it bringing bad anger and things like that? And if it's bringing anger and stress, you need to actually push it to the side. It's just going to weaken your body. Number 4 is the kind of people that you hang out with. Now, through my life, I've found that even when you're looking back and 15 years ago, and when I was in a certain part of my life, that where I was mentally, and the kind of people that I was attracting and hanging out with were just not the benefit to me. They weren't actually the kind of people I wanted to connect with. But as I progressed onwards and started to grow as a person and start to improve myself as a person, the kind of people I'd hang out, I connected to, that I met up with, it started to change, and it's improved so much because of it. I'm lucky in the fact that I've got a family that supports me in what I do, and actually allows me the freedom to go in my own direction. But I know that for a lot of people that's not the case, and you've got friends and people that are coming in and giving their influence on you that is not bringing you happiness, and they're doing it out of love, but they're not doing it for you. It's not for your benefit. It might be they think that it's for your benefit, but they're just putting their own lives, their own insecurities onto you. They start directing your lives. Now, for me, as I say, it's great for me. I don't have this problem right now, but you might do. So what you have to do is actually loosen the influence of these people on your life, and actually go in the way, hang out with people and go and meet up with people that actually excite you, that actually bring good feelings in you, that are going to help you support your life. If you do that, you're going to actually get where you want to go, and it's going to be a little more relaxed throughout your life as well when you meet with like-minded people. I'm not saying cut out the friends that you've known for a while out of your life completely. That would be cultish. That wouldn't be right at all. But you've got to look at notice, are they a benefit to me, or are they adding stress to my life? Just loosen their influence, just meet up with them less or something like that. But actually make sure that the people that you're hanging around with are allowing you to be who you are and going in the direction that you want to go with. So that's number 4. Number 5 is, what's the habits that you've been brought up with as a young boy, so as a young lad. So we've got to look back on the influences the challenges that we met when we were younger, when we were teenagers, when we were even younger than that. We've got to look at those things that happened in us and how they shape us now, because they're very, very important. So there are daily habits, underlying anxieties that we're kind of being brought up with, that are pretty kind of common every day in our lives at the moment. They come from when we were growing up, as the challenges that we came up. It might be to do with family, it might be to do with school. This might be a good idea to notice those things and be aware of those things, so you can actually leave them behind. One of the best ways to do that is to get a pen and paper and actually write down what happened, in the major things that happened during your teenage years or even earlier that molded, that were big influences on your life. And they're mostly going to be negative things, mostly. You look at those things and actually think, how much do they play on my life at the moment? You'll find that actually they're underlying, they cause a level of anxiety that you never noticed before, but actually might make a big difference. So we have to, getting a pen and paper and putting things out on paper, unloading them on paper, is actually a good way of almost letting it go and dealing with them, because you're spending time and noticing these things that actually, and what the brain does is actually, helps you let go and kind of reason with what happened and actually help you move on so it doesn't have a big influence on you. So get a pen and paper and look at those challenges that had throughout your life, through your teenage years that have shaped you at the moment. And that's going to help you actually let that, the anxiety, that the residual anxiety that you have right now, stopping that being an influence on your life at the moment. So look at those things. We've got to understand, as I like to add at this point as well, is notice how little formal education helped you in all this as well. I've got a big thing now. I have a huge love and respect from all my teachers that taught me. Most teachers are there for your benefit. They're there to improve, teach you well, give you the tools. But unfortunately, the system itself, the education system, does not really help us in the way we need. It does not help us in dating, how to date, how to create relationships that are beneficial for you, that are positive for you, how to eat, how to stay healthy, how to stay stress-free, how to deal with challenges, how to know that challenges come up in life whether we like it or not. How we deal with those challenges is a big thing, and how the training that we need for that. We are taught, the kids now, and we were taught the same as kids now are taught, the challenges really shouldn't happen in our lives. That's what we're taught. We're not taught the fact that the challenges are there whether we like it or not. It's how we deal with them. But what we're taught at school is, because we're not taught these things, we're abandoned. And kids nowadays grow up with these challenges that I say, this shouldn't happen in my life. It's outside things, and we start making excuses, and we start blame outside factors for where we are, instead of actually looking at ourselves and actually saying, right, how can I direct myself, and how can I do something, learn from this so I can move on past it and live a happy, healthy life. We're not taught that at school. That's huge. So you need to just when you write down, look at the influences of how little the formal education is, didn't help us. We were taught algebra, we were taught meaningless geographical stuff as well. We were taught not enough sport. Sport pretty much went by the wayside in the last 20 years. There's been, not enough kids are getting enough activity. All these things that keep us healthy, the baseline for a healthy, fulfilled life, are not in place at school at the moment, and it's abandoning our kids at the moment. It's not helping us become good parents. At school, we've got to learn how to be good parents so we can bring up the next generation. So we're not taught that, these base things. So look at the formal education. I've got great respect for the teachers that taught me, a great respect for the teachers out there right now doing their best with the kids. It's the system that I have a problem with, and we need to revamp that system. So we've got 5 things there that, or maybe 6, but 5 things mainly that are actually influencing right now. How do you deal with those things right now? So we've got to look at ourselves and actually our response to those things that we got. If you're in a job or a course that you're not liking right now at university, then accept it. Be relaxed and say, okay, don't be impatient with yourself. You've got to be patient with yourself and say, okay, what's the small steps I can put in place that actually can get the ball rolling? It's like a snowball. It builds. As it rolls down the hill, it builds momentum. So you need to put in steps that are actually put in place that actually can get you out of that situation. Where you are in your life, you could just accept where you are in your life. That's the biggest change you can do, is actually be relaxed right now and just look at the things. Again, what your response to these anxious things that you are is very important. So you look at your stuff, look at how you respond to it, and look at the things, as I say, where you are in your life, what are the things that are adding stress to your life right now, and then you go away, small steps that you can actually do to correct the situation. And the mainstream media is one of those things that you can cut out of your life or limit right now. You can do that right now. That's a major thing that's happening every day that in our lives, that actually prolonging this anger, this resentment, and this tension and this anxiety. So we can actually limit that right now. The kind of people this is a process. Don't cut out those people. I'm not saying that. It's very cultish to say that, to cut out your friends that you've grown out with. Not saying that, but look at and observe their influence on you, and are they there encouraging you to go where you want to go, or allowing you to go where you want to go. It's a process, and just maybe meet up with them less, but you'll know the right balance for it. And the 5 habits is just get writing, looking at resolve those things that have been inside you through pen and paper. resolve those things that are causing that long-held anxiety levels that are preventing you from relaxation. So these things, main thing is to actually how to deal with this is to be relaxed right now. How do you feel right now is important because that adds up to the right decisions in the future. And once you feel right now is hugely important to your relaxed sprinting. Remember that what we do outside of our sport, we live our lives the vast majority of time outside our sport, outside our training. So we need to look at the influence of these things that are going to be going to actually encroaching on our training and our performance like that. What we do outside will encroach on that small amount of time we spend training and competing. And this is the main idea. Be relaxed so you can actually be relaxed in the most pressurized situations. Dealing with these 5 things will help you be relaxed in that pressurized situation of competition and help you perform to your potential. So hopefully that video was helpful for you. Please like, please share, and I'll see you in the next video.